We are back. Week 2 of the new, improved Super Ambassador Live, which will soon be having a rebrand.
Will it? Oh, okay, because as you're coming, I'm coming in there on the intro. I'm like, waiting for the evening news to begin, and I need to, put on a suit and tie and pretend like I know something and start reading cue cards. So,
Well, this is all for the people who you're going to have like breaking news things that you can implement today inside your funnel to see conversions. That's the whole point of it, as we bring in people who are super ambassadors to ClickFunnels. And of course, Dan and I are OG super ambassadors, self-appointed.
I thought we were the only 2 super ambassadors, and all the rest of them were just regular ambassadors.
Well, yeah.
Okay, we don't like to. I guess I said the quiet part out loud there, didn't I? So, okay. All right. Well, like Madison said, this is week 2 of our revamped show. We did one year or so ago, mostly talking about AI, but now, we want to talk about everything in the world of marketing. Last week, we had Greg Dakins on showing off some stuff in Barnum PT, where he was building swipe files, where basically you go find the sites you want to hack, click, 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 boom, it all shows up. And then mysteriously, the next day, Russell Brunson was talking about swipe files on the new revamped Funnel Friday. So everything was new last week. And today we have a very special guest I will let Madison talk about in a minute. But then also next week, we're going to have Jonathan Craparo on, and he's going to be talking about blogging, and especially when it comes to SEO and local businesses and blogging, and some Barnum PT is going to be in there as well. We're going to have Greg Dakins back in a couple of weeks to talk about improving your page speed. And I know at some point here, we're also going to have Carlos Vargas on, probably about once every 6 weeks, to talk about all kinds of things tech related. But today we are talking about design, and in particular, we're talking about Canva. So Madison, why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, a lot of us are struggling to get one funnel client. This person has been able to snag not just probably one of the biggest names when it comes to challenges or funnels altogether, but several big 7, 8, probably even more bigger businesses. Plus, I don't know if anybody saw that Canva conference. She was actually there. And I'm like, I can barely find the right files inside of Canva. So we have to have our fellow ambassador, Canva expert, Alyssa, Lyss, on the show.
What's up? Hey, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me on your amazing show. This is really cool.
Well, thanks for being here.
I'm honored. I'm so stoked to talk about Canva and nerd out with you guys for a little bit.
Perfect.
All I know is I'm a sponge. So just about anything you can show me in there, I'm going to be learning something.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, sweet. Do you guys want me to show anything specific at first? Or you want us to just kind of dive on in?
You don't have a PowerPoint presentation for us? 1,500 slides?
All the things.
All the things. You got it all. Okay.
I want to encourage you guys first. I always like to encourage people when I hop on, I get to do these trainings, because a lot of times people feel like they don't have a creative bone in their body. They can't design anything. I've even seen it inside this ClickFunnels group where people will go to build their first funnel and they're like, I hate what I'm doing. I don't like anything that I'm doing. It looks horrible. I don't know what to do. And so I want to encourage you guys first that you can design. Everybody can design. And this might be a controversial hot take, but I know this because I've taught hundreds of people how to do their own designs. You don't need to go to design school. Now with everything that we have on YouTube, and you have amazing ambassadors like these people right here, you can learn so many things, whether it's in a Facebook group or YouTube or even with AI. And Canva is my go-to tool. So I know some people who are listening to this are probably like, what? I only use Adobe, or I only use Figma. Those are the more popular design programs that you'll hear dropped around. Yes, you can use whatever tool of choice that you want. But the reason why I love Canva is because it's simple and it's easy enough for anybody to design with. That's actually one of their core values. They want to empower everybody to be able to do their own designs. And I'll admit, when I first was doing design, I'm not going to share my whole story here, but I'm a multi-passionate creative. I started off as a photographer, and then I started teaching myself graphic design. Then I needed a website for my photography business. So then all of a sudden I was doing website design. And long story short, I needed a mentor. And that's actually how I came across Pedro. But I had known Adobe and was familiar with Adobe. And when Canva first came out, I mean, it's been over, I think, 10 years now. When it first came out, I saw it as a threat. And I'm going to give you guys this little, also another encouragement in a little bit, because I saw it as a threat instead of it being a tool that would be better for my clients. And I saw it as a threat because I thought it was going to take away business from me. I was like, oh my gosh, who's going to hire me? If people can do their own designs, no one's going to hire me. Like, I'm going to be a starving artist the rest of my life. I'm never going to make any money. And the way I found out about Canva was actually one of my best friends. She was like, Lyss, I use this amazing graphic design software, and I was able to design my own podcast image. I was able to design my own like flyer. And I was like, why didn't you ask me? I would have designed it for you. But she was like, you're too busy. Like I was able to do all this stuff on my own. And so she's like, you need to look into it. You need to look into it. And I was like, oh, that's the last thing I want to do. But I guess, let me see. And y'all, in the last decade, this is one of the biggest companies in the world. It's $1 billion, dollar company, female led. All over the world. I have the honor of being an ambassador for them as well. Like Madison said, they recently had a conference in Los Angeles. I was there when they were unveiling their new things. And they are one of the few companies that I see today that really value people over profit. And I really stand for like their values and what they have to offer. And they're constantly trying to make the software better and easier so you can save time and be more efficient and whatnot. So I started learning Canva. I started playing with it, even though I absolutely detested it in the beginning. And I was like, this is still going to take away from my job and my skill sets. But I started learning. I started playing with it. And I saw the potential that it had. And I know some people, this is another like controversial hot take sort of thing, but I like to give my clients full access to everything that they own. So they own their own funnels, they own their own website hosting, they own their own graphics. So when I design something in Canva, I give the file to the client and they can edit their files, they can modify it, they can share it with their teams. And so I love Canva for that reason, because it really allows me to put my clients first. And I know some people are like, but how do you make money that way? I promise you guys, like all my clients still come back to me and they're like, most of the time they don't want to do the changes. Most of the time they would rather like still have me like in it, but it's cool that we can collaborate together and we can work together. And so for those of you guys who don't know me, hi, my name is Alyssa Aviles. I probably should have introduced myself before that little rant too. My friends call me Lyss. I've been designing for about 16 years now. As Madison said, most people know me because I've been working with the challenge guy, Pedro Adao, for the last, I think this year makes 7 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about. And maybe we can like geek out and nerd out about challenges on another call, because I love talking about challenges. I've been able to design for Richmond Din, who does tiny challenges. Some of you guys might know him. Bill Von Fumetti, he spoke at FHL a few years ago, and I have several other 2 Comma Club winners and amazing entrepreneurs and people that are just heart-centered and they love serving others. And it's been a total honor getting to design for them. And what always surprises people when I talk about working with Pedro is that I'm the only designer on the team. There was only one short season where we hired another designer to help me because I was drowning. We were doing a lot of different things. But what is so cool, and I'm going to show you guys today inside of Canva, is that I'm able to design stuff and make stuff called brand kits. And I set up the files and I share it with everybody on the team. And everyone has full access to make their own things for their departments and their challenges and their ads and their things. And so it will save you a lot of time. You're going to become more efficient with it as well. And you're going to become more productive with it as well. So with that intro, let's go ahead and dive in. Does that sound cool?
Let's go for it.
Sounds good. I
Awesome.
will just say though, anybody who's ever used Photoshop, if you have not used Canva, it's night and day. Because, you go into Photoshop and first off, you don't even know what to click on because there are 10,000 options. Inside of Canva, I said I'm going to be a sponge and learner. I know enough that I can actually go in there and design a few little minor things. But just the AI tools that they've come out with in the last year are just unbelievable. You want to make something disappear off your page, boom, you click on it, it's done. It's really, really good. You combine that with Sora now, as far as image generation, and yeah, I mean, anybody can create stuff now.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I thank you for saying that. I love that you said that, because I still use Canva, like combined with Photoshop, or like I use Midjourney for like my AI stuff. You can do still some of that stuff inside of Canva. I'll be honest, it's not as good as Sora is or as Midjourney is. I feel like the Canva AI is still really kind of fine tuning. They're working it out, making it better and better. But, Canva is great for certain things. And then there's some areas where it's still, we'll just say, developing. I still use like Adobe Illustrator for like a lot of my vector stuff. I'll still use Photoshop for really complicated or like composite designs. Like if I feel like I just can't get what I want in Canva, I'll pull it into Photoshop. For book formatting, I tend to do a lot of that over in InDesign. But you can still do a lot of that, like you said, over here in Canva. It's a night and day difference. And so for any of you who have felt overwhelmed in Photoshop, like definitely play with the tools here, explore with the tools here. I think you'll be happy. You'll be surprised with what you can get. So what we're looking at is the new dashboard in Canva. Now, Canva has changed quite a bit. They kind of like how ClickFunnels had Classic and now they have 2.0. Canva had the same thing where they had their Classic version. They released a brand new version last year. They kind of did a slow rollout with it. A lot of people hated it at first, and now it seems like a lot of people are loving it. And they announced another update at the conference earlier in April. And so now all of you guys should be able to log into your account and see this version. And before I kind of show you the few things I'm going to show you, if you go up here and you press on the little present, this is going to show you all of the new features that came out with the most recent update. So you can go down here and it has this kind of like gamification badge sort of thing where they take you step by step for some of the biggest features that they have. And you could kind of play with it and see what it's all about. I highly recommend that you do that. But a few of their biggest things, and I'll show you here in a bit, is they have something called the Visual Suite Editor. I'm going to show you that one in a tad bit. They have something called Canva Code, which this I was geeking out about. It allows you to like put in a prompt to create whatever sort of widget or tool or thing that you want. And then you could put that code on a Canva website. They don't have you can't take it and copy the code and put it in another thing, unfortunately, which, I mean, it's smart for them. They want to keep everything in their Canva ecosystem. But just the fact that you could come up with any sort of idea and put it on a Canva site is really cool. So, and we have time, maybe I'll show you guys later. I don't even know if it's saved, but I had played with it and I was like, hey, create for me a funnel quiz where somebody could come in and they could tell me a little bit about them and their business. So they could tell me if they're new to a business, are they scaling their business, or, like where are they at? And then based on their answers, I want to tell them which funnel I think is best for them and give them a few more details about the funnel. And then I want them to be able to book a call with me from that thing. And within minutes, Canva designed this beautiful quiz that was on brand, looked modern, totally fluid, worked so well. I mean, it was so cool getting to see the whole thing happen. So that was a major update that they came out with. And then another major update is they now have something called Canva Sheets. So for any of you really geeky, nerdy people that love Google Sheets or Excel or numbers, whatever else there is, you can now do it in Canva. And it's great for marketing. I'm testing it now with doing like split testing documents for a client of mine. So I'm still playing with that. So I'm not going to show that today, but it is there if any of you guys want to play with it. So we're looking at the Canva dashboard. This is actually the team account for Pedro stuff. So you guys get a behind the scenes look. And what you're seeing over here, this is where you can search your own designs. Pro tip, because I chronically suck at this, and I have to remind myself about this all the time too. When you guys have your files, make sure you name them with keywords, because it always happens without fail where I'll be like, man, I designed this really cool thing and I think I designed it for this challenge, and then I didn't put keywords, or I forgot to name the file, and then I'm spending like, you know, hours looking for this like one design when I probably could have just rebuilt it.
Just give everyone a hint here. If you went into my account, every one of them is named untitled.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to tell us how to find your files when you've not named them.
I wish that they would make, I've sent this as a request. I'm like, please try to create like an AI system where you could put a screenshot, almost like Google search by image, right? Where you put a screenshot and then it could find the thing for you. I'm like, please put that in the system, because I've done the same thing where it's like, I'll forget to name it. And then I'm like, oh man, I forgot what this was. So, I mean, sometimes Canva will show you what you most recently worked on, but there's times where it's like, you've worked on something months ago and you don't have to like keep scrolling down to see like where that file is. So yeah, that's a major pro tip. If you guys can remember, when you're opening up your files, rename them as soon as you open them up. So let me just click on this one. This is this is for the sales team. Hold on, let me go to
and for anybody who's running an agency or something like that, you know who the main character is or the name of the company or whatever. So in your case right here, name everyone starting with Pedro. That way, no matter what, at least you can find all the ones that are Pedro. And here's the other question is, do they have folders in here that you can put? I see you got projects on the left-hand side. Okay, so that's kind of where your folders would be. So then you could make a Pedro folder and a whoever else folder.
Nailed it. Yep, yeah. You nailed it. And the only reason why I can't show you guys my personal account is because I have a few like NDA clients on there, so I can't so I'm just showing pages, but exactly what you said is how I would organize it. And I'll show you guys that here in a bit. You can set up folders with projects, and then you can set up folders inside of folders and access them here. So the naming thing really quickly, just so you guys know what to do. Once you start your file up here, you're going to see this area. This is where you can name your file. So you just click it, just rename it, and Canva automatically saves everything, which is amazing. So once you have that in, it's good to go and you have it saved. So back over here to the dashboard. So you can search through your own designs. You can also use Canva's AI tool or templates to get started with a project. So you could put in whatever crazy prompt that you want to put in. Maybe you want to make a tropical, beachy themed birthday invite. You could put that here, and it will pull up anything with that theme. It will pull up all these different templates for you. I mean, there's thousands of different designs and templates and things that you can use. And then also this is their latest feature is Canva AI. So you can also do it here where you put in your prompt. You could put in the details. Oops, these are files. You could put in the file if you need a certain photo to be in that thing. And then you can say design for me, have an image for me, make a document, code for me, like all that stuff. I'm still playing with this. Sometimes it gives good results. Sometimes it doesn't. For me, it's just easier to just kind of design it from scratch. But these are like the most important things like on your dashboard right here. And then you'll also see some like shortcuts here. So if you want to design a desktop wallpaper, a whiteboard, which is just like an infinite space for you to brain dump your ideas out on, presentations. You could do custom sizes, which I really love Canva for this. A lot of times I'll use Barnum PT to figure out like a space that I need to fill in a funnel. And then I'll use the custom size to create that custom artboard for me. And then, sorry guys, I'm sick. So I'm a little raspy if I'm grabbing my throat, that's why. If you click on upload, you can upload any PDFs that you have, and Canva will try its best to kind of recreate the PDF for you in Canva so you can edit it as needed. A lot of people don't know about that. And that's a little helpful trick for you guys right there. And so I am going to show what Dan talked about with the projects, because I think that this is going to be super helpful for you guys. But before I even show that, the other really big thing that is a massive time saver for me and the team, and this is a Canva Pro only feature. So Canva has a free account for any of you guys who want to get started, you want to play around with it. You get access to certain things for free versus the Pro, and I can show you when we actually get in the editor, I can kind of show you how to filter that stuff out. But they also have a Pro plan. I highly recommend, if you are going to be doing your own designs or you're designing for other clients, go ahead and upgrade to the Pro plan. It's totally worth it. I'm in Canva every single day, hours a day. And it's completely worth it for the things that they have. And brand kits is one of my absolute favorite ones. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to make essentially little brand style. So like how ClickFunnels has style guides, Canva has brand kits essentially. So you could create these little things. So you can see here, we have a lot of our different departments and some of our things that we do. I need to add, we're starting to kind of rerun a few specific challenges over and over again. So I need to add one for like each one of the challenges. But what I love about the brand kits is you upload all the different variations of your logo. You can upload as many different color palettes as you need to. You can upload the fonts in the different sort of text styles and headings and subheadings. You can tell it what font you want to be for each one and sizing. You can tell it your brand voice if you want to use Canva AI's tools, photos, graphics, and so forth. But as you guys can see here, for the most part, I typically only do like logos, colors, and fonts. And where this comes so beneficial is when I'm inside the editor working on, we'll say like this workbook, for example. I'm working on this workbook and maybe I want to switch the colors to like a different brand. I can go here and I can select the brand that I want to work with. Well, we'll say Challenge Secrets. And I can click on the colors, and just like that, in one click, it automatically updated the colors to the brand colors and that brand kit. And so, which is so cool. Now it didn't do it with like the grouped logo over here, but I might have just done it to this page, but
so it's basically it's a style guide in ClickFunnels. You just click on it, it changes all the colors. But what I'm really kind of surprised by here is using Canva to do documents like this. I mean, I think of it just purely for images, but you're basically, so you, in this case here, did you take an existing PDF and load it in here, or did you build all of this directly into Canva?
I built this directly into Canva. And what we do now, I will say this, Canva doesn't have an interactive PDF option. I really wish they did. Like that's one feature I'm really waiting for them to do, because some of our audiences, like they love to have the PDF and then it just like fill out all the info on their computer. And so typically I'll design it
like a fillable form is what you're talking
fillable. Okay. Yeah. So we typically will do two. We'll do like a printable version and then a fillable version for them. But yeah, you can actually do documents inside of Canva. So if you wanted to have like, for example, for any of you guys that have an agency and you want to make a proposal, like a very detailed proposal with all of your details and whatnot, you can make it's like a Google Doc, but it's in Canva. You can make a doc in Canva, have it really pretty, well branded, and you can send the link to your client. But for our challenges, yeah, we set up a letter size document, and then
can you scroll down on that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's all you, so that's just a text document or a text element essentially in Canva, and you type all that in.
Yep.
Really?
Exactly. You nailed it. Yeah.
Here I am just making pictures with it. You know?
Oh no.
That's why we had this class, Dan. It was for you.
Oh,
we joked and said it was for the whole group, but it really was for you.
It's just for me. Good. Okay. The remedial students here. Okay. I get it.
Oh, you're good. You're good. And what I can do too is I can give you, and then I could figure out a way to drop it to everybody else. I could give you guys like a template you can get started with. So that way it saves you time. But this is like a typical workbook for us. So, you know, Pedro's in the faith-based space. So a lot of times like he'll have like a little letter to them, a little bit about him for anybody who does know him. We include a prayer. And then we go into like the actual content. He likes to kind of do this fill in the blank thing. And then we'll have some questions that have some boxes. But yeah, like I build out all of this inside of Canva. And then here, let me...
Does he give you the questions? I mean, like, here's the main points we're going to hit on day one, and then you're like, okay, I know based on that we need to ask people like mindset stuff, or
it's hit or miss. Pedro if he sees this, whole laugh because it's chaotic working together. And so a lot of times it's like, hey, let's do a workbook. This is what I want to talk about. and here's some of the like questions. So he will give me some of the questions, and then sometimes he'll work on a presentation, and I'm now convincing him to present in Canva. This is a whole nother thing. You could do, instead of PowerPoint, you could do presentations in Canva, which I highly recommend that you guys do. It is so much easier, and we could talk about that in a little bit. But what he was doing was he was designing what he wanted to talk about in a PowerPoint, and then he would send it to me, like 10 minutes before we go live. And then I open up the PowerPoint and I just speed run and try to get all this stuff in. And if any of you guys have done a challenge with us, you know that we tend to drop the pages day by day. I've noticed that more people are starting to do that. I don't know if they learned it from us, but like for us, it was totally accidental because like Pedro is just going day by day, making the content. And then it's like, I'm last minute scrambling, getting it all together. And so, yeah, we go day by day with it. And we are kind of testing a new sort of thing because he's trying to work on evergreen challenges and whatnot. And so now I'm kind of playing with taking the transcript from his thing, putting it in ChatGPT and getting like curated questions for each thing. So we're going to try that and see how that works. But yeah, you guys can do workbooks and plug in images in here and do different things. But yeah, here's like a standard workbook. The only pages I don't have in here, like on the back of them, I'll add like notes if people want to, add notes. And then you can export that file as a PDF for print or like a PDF for like emailing to other people. So yeah, that's one way you can use.
One thing I'll say real quick here is one software you might want to look at is Delphi.ai.
Ooh, okay.
Because what
I've
you
never
can
heard
do,
of it.
yeah, it's I forget what all the big name guys are using it now. When you go there to their sales page, you're going to recognize half the faces on there. And Dante, where I found out about it is Dante used it to upload a whole bunch of stuff from Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson, and uses it as an AI engine. And so what you could do is I having purchased Pedro's course a couple of years ago and having gotten through about 10% of it because the man can talk forever. You can you have plenty of content that you could load up into the system and it'll spit out anything you want to know right straight out of his brain.
And you can also like give the AI the freedom you want to. So it's like, so like I actually have one on my like agency page. So it's like, hey, if you just got funnel questions, just ask Madison. Like ask AI Madison. She'll give you the answers. It's trained on, I think 4 million words. So like I uploaded all my client calls. I uploaded all of the Facebook lives. I did, it likes video better than just written words.
Okay.
And so then I also said, do you want to just stick straight to the knowledge I gave you? Or do you want Madison to kind of expand a little bit? And then the last one was like, you give it full freedom, right? So it can go out and search the internet. It can do whatever it wants. And you get to choose. So I chose the middle one where it's like, utilize the knowledge I have. I actually use this for YouTube videos. So if you go to vidIQ and you get an idea, so like it gives you the idea, right? And I'm like, well, what are the 3 points I would make on that? I put it into this and it spits it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Oh yeah, does make sense there.
That's so cool. Link me to that afterwards. Yeah, because
I put it in the chat. Delphi.ai. Yeah, it's pretty
very
pretty
cool.
Simple. But we should probably get back to Canva because at this pace here, we're going to be on this show for another 14 weeks. And we're going to go through every single feature that's in Canva these days.
I know. Am I frozen?
Yeah, don't worry. We can hear you.
It's okay. It'll catch up.
Okay. Is it is the screen frozen too?
I don't know. Move your mouse or move something on it.
Yeah. Let's see.
No,
okay, there we go. All right, I'm back. I'm back, baby. All right, cool. So let's go over the projects and then we'll actually go into the editor and I'll give you guys a few like tips with that too. So for organizational stuff, they just added this feature.
Hang on one second there. I will say right now, just anybody who's watching, we clearly will have to have her back because again, we're not going to scratch much more than the surface today. So, think of today's overview and then in a couple of weeks we'll have her back and we can really dive into how to start doing stuff, how to use the AI features, stuff like that.
We could do that. I'm totally down for that. Okay, so project area. So you guys can set up folders inside of this area. So like Dan was mentioning, if you have your account and you have a bunch of different clients, you could have a folder for each one of your clients. And then inside of those folders too, so I have one for like his headshots, right? Like more specific ones that he likes to use. But inside that folder, you can also have other folders as well. So it makes it super easy to kind of keep everything organized in one place. And you can see how we use it here because we run so many different challenges and different things. Like we essentially have folders for, all that stuff. And then what I like is that you can star some of the things that you're working on. So right now we just actually wrapped today with a challenge called the Power to Get Wealth Challenge. And so I have it saved over here. I have the folder here so I can easily access it. I have the slide deck that we were working on this morning. I have it here so I can easily access it. And then testimonials, I often need to pull testimonials in. So I have the folder here as well. And because I share this with the team, what I've done is I've starred the priority folders for us here for the team to access and see on their end too. So Canva is designed to be a really collaborative tool. This is why I love using it with teams. I love using it. For me, I have somebody that helps me on the design side with stuff. My assistant, I have a VA. And so they have access to it and they can organize this stuff for me. And it's just so helpful being able to do that. And let me show you guys the other benefit of the projects and folders. So this is this the, let's see, we'll let it load. Man, this always happens. Whenever I go live, I'll go to show something and then it just takes its sweet time loading. I think I broke Canva. Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
And one thing I was going to say is, I mean, we're spending a little bit of time here going over something that maybe people are going to say, well, come on, show us how to do something. But here's the thing. Frustration comes in many, many forms. And one of them is if you just created, as we started talking about, if you created 25 pictures and you can't find any of them, that's frustration. And that takes energy out of you, takes your brain off of what you're really working on. So being organized, knowing where things are, and, spending some time going through and actually, click on every single one of these things, open them up, see where they are, see what it is. It's going to save you a lot of time in the long run.
I promise you guys exactly what he said. I wish that I had done this early on because there's thousands of designs in this account and it is a pain in the butt trying to find some of this like older stuff. So definitely get these foundations. And I promise before we leave, I will show you one really cool like thing that you could do. We'll do a little design thing if we have time. I didn't even ask you guys how long this call should be, but I'll try to keep it.
You have the hour.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep it less than an hour. Yeah.
Okay. Bro, I'm going to try to speed run this really quick. So let me show you the other folder thing. So this morning we were working on this slide deck together, and of course it's going to freeze again. So maybe I can't show you guys this file. Man,
I will say my hack is all of my course thumbnails, my module, my lesson thumbnails. I actually use YouTube thumbnail inside Canva. So I actually know that they are all the same size. So like in a course, they actually look good because they all fit. And it's not like I have one wonky one that's out there.
Yeah. Can you guys check your Canva account? I wonder if Canva just went down. It is not loading out. It is not loading at all on my end.
No, it's up on my end.
Is it? Oh, man.
And Jonathan's joining us from the dentist office, and he says this is a good distraction.
Oh, hey, man.
I will have to say, for some reason, I didn't see any of the comments on Facebook, so I thought like nobody was commenting, but we got all the cool kids here. Carlos is here. Mark's here. Tyler's here. Karen's here. Michael Barlow's here.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me reset my browser. I wonder if it's just a me thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing my account.
Yours is working? Okay. Mine is, let me go to Chrome.
I actually do have some images here that aren't untitled, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Well, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because if you use a like a template, it will come with a title. And so that's to overwrite the title.
Uh-huh. Otherwise, that's a good point.
Gold adventure thumbnail YouTube 1. Yeah. And then if you're me, 2. And
all right.
3.
Let's see. Okay, Chrome is working.
In the same one.
All right, present, share screen.
When you find one that works, just keep cloning it, and then that's all that matters.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so it's working on this account. So the other thing with projects, so you can actually access your folders inside the Canva editor. So like kind of how I just showed you with Pedro's headshots and things like that, this is where this becomes so beneficial, because if you guys are working on a design, so this is like banners that we like, the really tall banners that we have at an event. And so, if I need to put an image in any of one of these things, and I need to find like a specific image, I can go over here to projects. I can go to my folders and I can find the folder that I need. So in this case, I need a photo of Pedro. And then I can go through here and figure out like, oh, maybe I want to use like one of these headshots of him instead. Maybe I want to use this one instead. I could pop it in there. And let me just delete this really quick. And something really cool with Canva as well, most of you guys should know this, but if you're newer to Canva, this is a pro-only feature. They do have a background remover tool. So in one click, it will remove the background. I have found it to be a lot more accurate than what Photoshop can actually do.
Yep.
It always makes it really crisp and really clean. Isn't that cool? It just did that within like a few seconds. And so there's a lot of other really cool AI powered, like Dan was saying earlier, like photo capabilities and tools that you can do inside of Canva. But I just want to show you that project thing really quick, because
I do have one question before you move on. You said these are tall banners, or these are like 4, 5, 6 feet tall. What kind of resolution do you have to have on those images that they can be on there and get blown up to 5 feet tall?
So what I do, this is going to sound really weird, but because Canva will only let you do a certain size inside of Canva as well. So I design it at half the size. And then when I go to export it, I go over here to share. I'll go to download. This is also a pro only feature. When I go to download it, I'll export it at about 2x the size or 3x the size. I mean, most of the time it's 2x the size. And when I put in the headshots and stuff inside of Canva, naturally it's going to compress it a little bit, but I try to make sure I put like the highest res photo inside of Canva. So that way, when I go to export it, it's fine. And I know it sounds weird, like designing at half the size and then like exporting it at like double the size, but it's totally been fine every time we've printed stuff. It's been good. I wish it would let us do a little bit more detail with like 300 DPI or like 150 or whatever, but it's gotten the job done somehow. But these are pro only features for the exporting. So if you want to export at double or triple the size, if you want to have, I use this stuff often for funnels, and I'll show you guys, like, I'm going to teach you guys how to do mockups, because that's another common thing that I see in the ClickFunnels group, or people like, I want to have mockups on my funnel, but I don't know how to make them. And like, what do I do? I'm going to show you guys that really quick. But you can
just let everybody know here. She keeps mentioning the pro plan. $120 a month.
No, a year.
It should be a year.
I'm sorry, a year.
Yeah.
Sorry, big difference. Big difference.
It really only is $12 a month. You just have to pay Dan the difference in the 120.
Yes. $12 to them, whatever the
affiliate program.
$108 to me, my commission. Yes.
And when you're talking about half scale, when you're talking half scale, you're talking like banners and pull-ups, things that are too big to fit inside Canvas.
Yeah, like way too big. So like, like you said, this banner is a certain size, and Canva won't let me do the full size of it. So I have to design it half and then scale up. But for the most part, like, you can design majority of stuff in here. But if you are doing any print materials, like for any of you guys that are doing large banners and things like that, just figure out the oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. Figure out the numbers for what it would be at a half scale. And then when you export it, just export it at double the size. Okay. So let me show you guys, because I know a lot of you guys like, and like Dan said, I'll come back. We'll do like a more detailed thing on Canva. It's so hard to show like all these amazing things in this system in such a short amount of time. But I just want to give you like these practical tools that you can get started with. And like, if you're already a Canva user, maybe this will encourage you to go in and start organizing some of your stuff, or making brand kits for your clients, or maybe projects that you're working on. If you're creating lead magnets and things, maybe you want a folder for like your lead magnets and stuff like that. But one of the biggest things that I use Canva for, outside of like workbooks for challenges and now slide decks for challenges, which, by the way, like this morning, like I mentioned earlier, Pedro is a PowerPoint sort of guy. He has been driving me crazy with it. I've been begging him to do Canva over the last like few years. And just because of time this morning, I was like, please use Canva. And so he's like, oh, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. Like, it is a little bit easier. And I'm like, yes.
There is a caveat. There's a caveat to that, in that McCall Jones learned it very well during Funnel Hacking Live. If you saw McCall's speech, there was lots of elements. There is a maximum number of elements you can have in a Canva PowerPoint.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Ooh, how many elements did she have in it?
I can't remember.
Crazy? Oh man,
it's like 10,000 or I mean, if you go back and if you watch the replay, she had a lot of elements, and McCall's slides are legendary.
They are really good.
And so I know she caps out on number of pages, and so she creates multiples of them. But just watch out for that. And then if you ever get an error, you're just gonna have to like clone it, move on to the next one. If you get too many elements. Presentation.
That's good. That's good to know. So that is a good caveat. I don't know if all you guys are gonna be using like 10,000 images in your slides, but I didn't even know that. So that makes sense. Canva used to have a cap with the amount of files that you could have, or like artboards that you could have in one file. I think that they've extended it. It used to be 100. I think they've extended it more to like 300. I don't know. I got to check and see if they've done anything like that like since. But so, you know, the PowerPoint thing, what I love is like this morning I had the slide deck and 4 people on our team were working in the same presentation at the same time, each of us focusing on a different thing. And together, because we were collaborating together, we got this stuff done fast. And so I would encourage any of you guys to like really start getting in the habit of designing things over here and sharing it with your clients and sharing it with your team and working together on this stuff. You can tag each other. That's like a big reason why Canva is kind of rolling out more collaborative features. Okay, so mockups. This is something that I do on pretty much every single funnel that we build out. It is something that is going to help get attention to your funnel. So this is an example of a mockup, and I call them mockups. I don't know if everybody calls them mockups, but maybe different people have different names. But anytime like we have an offer stack, we always try to have an image that goes along with it. And this is something that typically always helps with conversions, because people are naturally, most people are visual people and they want to see what they're getting. And so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does help when they can kind of in their mind be like, oh yeah, I'm getting this. And then here's a photo of what it looks like. And then they, you know, you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing. So I design all my mockups inside of Canva. And you can see like a few different layouts of it here, a few different like things here. And then this file has more of the horizontal things in it, but I do a lot of like square mockups as well. And before I show you the mockups thing, let me show you one of the biggest features inside of Canva that they just released that I'm so excited about. And it's kind of changing how I'm going to be designing my challenge funnels like now in the future. Let me see, or like my challenge graphics in the future. Let me see if I did it in this file. I didn't do it here. Maybe it's with this one.
You know, an entire show on just how you do these mock-ups. I think people will get blown away by that.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
I'm not kidding. People ask about that stuff all the time. And I
all the time.
When I went through the very first OFA way back with Steve Larson, I think it was like on day 5, they said, okay, now you got to do a product mock-up. And it seriously tripped me up so bad, I didn't finish the OFA.
Oh.
Just because I was like, oh, I got to figure out how to do this. Instead of Russell telling you, oh, hey, go on Fiverr and have somebody do it for you. No, I had to figure out how to do it myself.
I actually, on the weekend, put the elements of my bundle into Sora and told it to make me a mock-up. And then it did. It took the images, and one of them was kind of like funky. It was cut out. And there's a thing inside Canva, you probably know about it, the magic grab.
Yeah.
Is it magic grab where you can pull out an element?
A certain element?
Move it?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I
It's
love that
one of the
tool.
coolest things.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things. So I'll just show you guys this really quick. So this is like anytime I'm designing a challenge for somebody, I always have one artboard that kind of has like the logos and the colors. And then I start kind of doing the mock-ups. And Canva just made this update. This is very new. Beforehand, you couldn't have different sizes in one file. You had to do individual files for different sizes. So then all of a sudden you have so many different things. Well, now you guys can see here, right? This is horizontal and then it's square. So now you have the option to add in other sizes into one document. So what I'm starting to do now for challenges is when I'm creating mockups and things like this, is I'm trying to keep it all in one file so I can give the client one file versus like 4 different files. Now for ads, that's the only thing where I'm going to still keep my horizontal ads in one file, my square ads in one file, my story ads in one file. But when here, let me go back over to Pedro's.
No, I would guess that's because different shapes really go to different platforms.
Yep. Yeah. And
so when you add a page there, does it give you the option now you pick your dimensions then?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you go down to the bottom, they just added it. Yeah. So if you go on your account now, you should see it. They just released it for everybody. Like I want to say it was like Monday this week. So it's very new. A lot of people might not know about it, but when you go to add a new page in your document now, you'll see this. So you can go and if you're like, oh, I want to create a social media graphic, you'll click on that and you could type in the social media thing. Or if you need a custom size, you can also do a custom size. This is what I end up doing a lot. Excuse me. Or you can search for what you need. Excuse me. And so I'll click on social media here and I'll just do Instagram story and boom, just like that, it added the Instagram story size here. And so now I can plug and play and do all my stuff in one file versus like all of these files. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. And the next level in there then is to be able to have folders within each one of these projects. So like you said, you got a bunch of images, but so you got images for Instagram, you got images for this, that, and the other thing. And then you can design it all in there and drop them into folders all right inside of that same, whatever you call this thing. What is this
file, artboard, whatever it's called. I typically for me, I typically call these files, and then each one of those things I call artboards. Like that's just kind of like language I've learned from like using Adobe stuff. You know, you create all your different artboards, but you guys can call it whatever you want. But this is another amazing tool as you guys are working on your funnels, you're working on your things. You can have it easily in one place. So I'm starting to shift for that. It's only things like I said, the ads and like a workbook. I'm going to keep the workbook files separate. But when it comes to like the funnel assets and website assets, I'll probably just keep it all in one thing like this. So I have a very short amount of time. I'm going to very quickly show you guys how to do mock-ups in here. Okay. So there are two.
I didn't mean for today. I didn't mean the mock-up for today because I think that's that's something much bigger. Let's just, because we only really got 10 minutes left. Let's continue with, because we've been really focusing on organizing yourself and so you can be able to find this work more efficiently. If there's anything more we can talk about on that. And then the next time we come back, I think that would be something good is to do the mock-ups. And then also, like you said before, with the Magic Grab and the rest of the AI tools.
Yes,
I mean, that's like show number 3 right there. So, you know, we got a prolonged engagement apparently here. We are going to have book.
They've been some open loops. Yeah.
We're going to have to talk to Danny. Danny didn't give us enough money to like pay people. So I don't know what we're going to do.
So, I mean, with the project stuff, that's pretty much it. Like what I showed you is like the core foundational, stuff with like organizing your content, putting things in folders, being able to access your brand kits over here and your projects over here. So I would encourage you guys to really play with that. And now that you know about the Visual Suite Editor and being able to add all these things, like when you go to start designing in Canva, think ahead about like, okay, when I'm designing this file, what are the different assets that I want to put in this file? So like I said, for me, I'm essentially from now on with my challenges, I always have like an artboard where I call this a brand mini style sheet. Some people, when you're branding stuff, they'll give you a full style guide. Most people don't use the style guide. So I create a mini version where it's like, here are the logos, a darker one, a lighter contrast one. Here's the color palette. I do a file that has the logos separately because I export the stuff to, put in ClickFunnels and things like that. We have a bunch of different variations here. Then I have, where is it? Oh, this is the wrong file. Whoops.
I saw, just real quick, I'm sorry. I saw the color palette there. So people might be interested in, is this a particular color palette that Pedro uses all the time, or do you create new ones? And if so, how do you come up with a color palette? Because I'm an old guy who's colorblind. So
and there's show number 4.
That is show number 4.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
That's
or
a,
do you
that's
just,
a really
or just
good
go
question.
to see? My answer would be just go to coolers, hit random, and whatever it gives you, just throw it on the page.
Coolers. Yeah. I love coolers. So for Pedro's brand, we mostly use, in the beginning, it was black and orange. And it's kind of funny because when it was just him, before I met him and I started working for him, he designed the original 100X logo, and he had picked orange for the X and 100X. And what I love about that is orange is the color of creativity. And he didn't even realize that, he had picked a color that is so representative of what he teaches and encourages people to build with, right? And so in the beginning, I had done black and orange because he was always wearing black shirts and black Louis Vuitton and all this stuff. But then he was kind of like, I don't like the black and orange. It feels too Halloween-y. And so I loved it because it's very Pedro. I mean, you guys know Pedro. He has his serious financial side, but still at the same time, he's a very fun, down to earth, just sometimes wild, just funny. He's kind of got this urban sort of style to him at the same time. So I had liked the black and the orange, but we ended up kind of turning it more to navy. So if you look at a lot of our stuff now, a lot of our stuff has navy and then orange typically in the color palette. So I'll just go here, the brand kits really quick. So you can see majority of our brands do have orange as a primary accent color. It's only for our higher ticket stuff. So he has something called the mastermind. That's his highest ticket mastermind sort of thing. We just rolled out something called the Kingdom Wealth Club. That's also higher ticket, not as much as the mastermind is. This is a separate financial brand he has. So the palettes are totally different. We use the black and gold for that naturally because it is higher ticket, higher scale. We wanted something a little bit more luxury, but for everything else, you'll notice we typically have an orange in there. We have some navies in there. And then teal accents, because teal is a nice gender neutral color. So, excuse me, I tend to kind of use the same palettes for everything that we do for brand recognition. And here's another pro tip for conversions and things like that. I always encourage people to brand their funnels. And I don't mean you don't always have to do these beautiful design funnels and make every little thing perfect. I always encourage people, even if it's an ugly funnel, find one color that you could get recognized for, just one color that you can sneak into each one of your funnels, whether it's in text or it's a button or it's in an image somewhere. Most people will recognize brands. The stat is I think it's 80% of people will recognize a brand by it, because of the color. And so color recognition is a really big thing. So I always encourage people, try to find a way to put your brand color in your different elements and your different things and keep it consistent with your funnels as well. I've had people come to me and they're like, hey, I this ad caught my attention because I saw the orange, and I kept seeing Pedro and orange all the time, and so it definitely works. But I would be more than happy to do a whole lesson on colors in the future.
Dan, I think we have about 10 shows filled up.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Everybody else we had canceled, or we had booked, just cancel them now because Liz just took them all. So, oh well.
Hopefully we don't get yanked. So my question is, you said that you were starting out, you were getting in the funnels and you needed a mentor. How did you go from mentee to basically creative partner with Pedro?
That's a really good question. I'll try to keep this really short. My story is very different. And I always tell people this isn't going to happen to everybody, right? But I was looking for a mentor. I was doom scrolling on Facebook. I came across a Facebook ad for him. Back then challenges weren't a thing, but he was doing a 30-day masterclass for free. And, it caught my attention. So I got in there, and it's so funny because when I saw the ad, I was like, he was holding a 2 Comma Club award. And I knew what that was because I was starting to get familiar with ClickFunnels. So I click on the funnel and it's broken. It's not working. So I sent him a message and I'm like, hey, I saw this ad. It sounds great, but like your funnel's not working. I can't even go to it. So he's like, oh, no. It's totally okay. Let me give you the link. So he sends me the link and it's an application. It's this ugly application, the application funnel. So I go on there, I fill out all the questions. I go to submit. It doesn't work. So then I message him again and I'm like, hey, your application isn't working either. And so he's like, oh, it's cool. I'll just add you into the Facebook group. But at this point in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's got a 2 Comma Club award. His funnel's broken. The application's not working. Then I go to Google him. He has nothing, no personal brand online, no website online, no YouTube videos. I mean, the man has nothing. And I'm like, this is a scam. He has to be a scam. But his copy was so good. Like, you guys know when you just see someone and their copy is like so compelling and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to like know them. So long story short, I got in his group. And I was dead broke at the time, but he made his offer. I sold whatever in my house to get in his program. And I joined his program, and it was a very small group of us. It was only like 100 of us. And very long story short, I went to California, actually met him and his family. And while I was out there, and I'm going to get just a little spiritual here, I felt like God was like designed for him for free for 1 year. And I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's no way that I'm hearing this correctly, because the man is a millionaire and I am dead broke. But Pedro would teach, and he would just drop like a Word document inside the Facebook group. And so I would take it, I would redesign it into a worksheet like what you saw in Canva, and I would drop it back in the Facebook group for people. And I did this for weeks. And eventually, he noticed and he called me and was like, hey, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I'm like, I promise I'm not sharing this with anybody else. It's just saying, like, I thought I was for sure in trouble. And he was like, no, I love this. Like, this is amazing. What would it look like for us to work together? And so I was like, let's just see how it goes. I was like, I'm not going to tell him like I'm supposed to design for him for free. I was like, let's just see how this goes. Let's just see. So I designed for him for free for 1 year. He did try to pay me the entire time. I am going to say that because I don't want people to think like he was taking advantage of me or anything. And I eventually told him, I was like, look, I just want to see how this relationship is. Like, can we work together? Is it good? And I'm going to encourage people. How do I say this? Don't go out there like giving things for free in expectation of receiving something in return. I did it because like I genuinely love the people and I knew I'm a visual learner and it would be best for other people. And so I did it without any hidden intent of like, we're going to work together. It's going to be amazing. So I always tell people to like really discern, like, if you do want to design for someone, like taking the time to do the designs and all that stuff, just don't expect that you're going to be besties and be working with them and whatnot. So it did come to a point where he did pay me, and 2020 came along. We ran a challenge. He went viral with that challenge, and that the rest is history, right? He became known as the challenge guy. I became the challenge girl, essentially. And we designed tons of we've done at this point, we've probably done over 100 challenges just for Pedro himself. And then we have our peers, his peers, his consulting clients, students challenges. And so it's been a wild ride. And thankfully, because of my proximity to him, that's how I've met people like Richmond and Bill and all these other things. So that's another tip though, is like, get in the room. I'm sure you guys have said this too. Like, you guys have experienced this as well. Because, I've seen you guys on like FHL and like ClickFunnels Connect and whatnot, but really try to get in the room with other people when you can, because there's something so magical and amazing about meeting people in person and getting to know them in person and connecting with them in person. And you honestly just never know like who you're going to meet and who you can end up working with as well. So it's been a wild ride. I'm super grateful. I personally haven't had to do marketing for myself because it's been word of mouth. And it's been a blessing. So I'm very grateful, and it's possible for you guys. If it's possible for me, it's possible for you guys as well.
And talk about like taking that leap of faith and like joining somebody's program and like stepping up. And it probably was not an easy track to write.
Yeah.
Like with me, like when I joined Catherine Jones's Insider program, and if I hadn't joined that program, I never would have met Dan Havey.
Oh my God.
And now look at you guys. You have your own show. You're super ambassadors. I love that. It's scary. It is really scary. Like I'll never forget. Like, but I was at a really low point in my life when I joined Pedro's challenge. Like we were in negative thousands in the bank, and I had started having some chronic illness issues. I was married with my husband, and he's a mental health therapist. He wasn't really making any money, and for me, it was like feast or famine with creative stuff. And we were just at a point where it was like the bank accident, like our mortgage had accidentally withdrawn twice. And so like we didn't have any money in our savings. Like it just wasn't great. And so when Pedro at first dropped his offer, I want to say it was 1,500 when he first did it. And for any of Pedro's programs, like that is cheap. I mean, like I'm like now in hindsight, right? But for me back then, that was a lot of money, and I was like, I can't even afford to like pay our bills right now. And so back then, Pedro wasn't famous, and he had the time to like personally DM everybody in the group, and he DM'd me, and he's like, hey, like, are you going to join? Like, what's stopping you? Typical sales, sort of stuff. And I was like, I don't know, man, I got to figure this out. So I talked with my husband, and I was like, I really want to do this. There's something about this that I can see my breakthrough in. And I really feel like this is it. And so I think for a lot of you guys, because naturally we're in the marketing world, we're going to get a lot of noise from a lot of marketers, and you're going to want to do every single program because there's so many amazing people and so many amazing things. But what I would encourage you with is really discern which one is going to be the best fit for you. And oftentimes your mentor will carry the breakthrough that you're wanting and that you want to have. And I saw that in Pedro. And so, my husband was like, I have not seen you this excited or happy for something in a really long time. And he was like, I'm going to encourage you to do it. Even if we have to get a new credit card, put it on a credit card, like whatever it takes, like I really believe that you should be in here. And so I took whatever we had in our house. I had a motorcycle also at the time. It was like a beat up motorcycle, but I was like, I'll sell this. I'll sell that was my only way of transportation at the time, outside of my husband and I's car. So I sold my motorcycle for a couple $100, selling books, selling like whatever we had in the house. And I made the money to join. And I'll never regret that because my life is completely different now, but it was scary. I'm not going to lie. Like, one of the books that I read, and I would encourage everybody to read, I'm going to do another run of it here soon. I haven't picked out the date yet, but it's called The Artist's Way. And in The Artist's Way, she talks about this concept of leap and the net will appear, and just really trusting that the universe is going to provide for you. And it looks scary. You don't know what's going to happen, but you just really have to take that step of faith. So I hope that encourages you guys.
Well, that was amazing. And like I said, we've already set, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 more shows. All of season 2 will soon be filled out, which Dan and I have no problem with.
It's fun hanging out with you guys.
Well, yeah, it's like how many episodes were we picked up by? For? I mean, we got 12 episodes, or are we gonna like go crazy and do like?
I think at this point we're just on until they take the hook and pull us off.
Get yanked out. Yeah, okay, good. Well, seeing it's 5 minutes past the hour already here, do we want to do the funnel pickle today, Madison, or do you want to save that for next week?
It's a pretty short one, so
do it.
Is the funnel pickle. This is actually I'll make 2 comments here. This was a comment that was in the group last night I saw, and the thing is, like, us ambassadors who get chosen as moderators, we have the privilege of seeing people's posts in the queue, and you'll see a post from somebody and you're like, you know what, I know this post right here is causing them not to launch their funnel. And that's exactly what this person said. I actually changed this image on Canva while we were live. This person says, I can't launch my funnel because I don't know if I use quick actions or workflows. Yeah, so here is a little 3 minute, I think it's about 3 minutes, talking about what should you use, quick actions or workflows. Today, I want to break down quick actions versus workflows. So if you're new to ClickFunnels and you go over here to automations and you're like, what's a workflow versus what is a quick action? Well, that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. So for example, I think the best way to explain this is through opportunities. So whatever my guidelines are for why a new lead would become a hot lead, I can create a quick action for this. And so my trigger is going to be, it's going to enter the pipeline stage. And what I want it to do is I maybe want it to notify a team member. I have it notified me and say, hey, new lead. Please follow up. Send it by email. I can also add some merge tags with the email address. And now all I gotta do is trigger this on. Think of these as simple, quick actions, quick little notifications, and go add quick action. Now, obviously I can come through here and add another one. If you really want to have multiple steps, this is when you need a workflow. So workflows look like this. As you can see here, this one is for a purchase. So I'm going to add a tag, I'm going to send an asset, I'm going to send an email. If you need to do multiple steps, that is a workflow. If you need to do something simple, like when a new lead goes to the next place and somebody gets notified, or we add a tag, or we trigger a message hub message, or we send an asset, or we enroll them in a course. Now, for example, anytime you see something with this little lightning bolt, you can add a quick action here inside of ClickFunnels. Simple as this. Add quick action. By trigger, they're going to schedule an appointment, and I want them to add a note or create an opportunity. An opportunity would mean they go onto that sales pipeline. Maybe I want to trigger a workflow from here. I want to send an asset, send an email, something like that. Let's actually go create an opportunity. And I could say, those people are going to be put in my hot leads. Go like that, boom, turn it on, and my quick action is set. It is that simple. If you have any questions, you can always go over here to ClickFunnels. Here is under the support.myclickfunnels.com/docs/quick/action. You can see we can add them to pages, we can add them to pipelines, we can add them to products, and we can add them to courses. So when somebody completes a course, a step, a module, we can send a quick action. So maybe we want to trigger some type of automation, or we want to have a tag, or we want to send an email. All of those can be done through quick actions. Most of this, of course, can also be done through workflows if you need to trigger multiple steps. But here to help you to skip the struggle with ClickFunnels, this is the difference between quick actions and regular workflows. The one thing I did not add is you did see the button. You can convert a quick action to a workflow at any time if you're like, oh no, I need more steps.
Okay. I don't remember seeing that button, but okay. That might be new. But what I was also going to say here is, so you see all the stuff you can do with quick actions, you know all the stuff you can do with workflows, or if you don't, you can dive in there and figure it out. But if you ever come along something and you go, I don't know, or I want it to do something that I don't see the capability of, first off, reach out into this group right here, ask for that. And then also look in the heck do they call it? The feature request. So we can look at the feature request, see if there's already one in there. If not, one can be added, because if you're asking for it, guess what? There's 100 or 1,000 other people who are also looking for something very similar. So if you aren't able to find something inside of those actions, just like I said, put it in the group, and we'll see about getting the dev team to build it for you.
So, with that being said, we will let everybody go, and we will see you guys next week. Dan, who do we got with us next week?
Jonathan Caparo is going to be here. And again, I think he's going to talk about blogging and using Barnum PT and local SEO and stuff like that. We'll find out next week.
We'll see you guys all next week.